Time for a little music.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
There we go. It must be time.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 9 of WP Plugins A to Z Unplugged, and today I have discussions, opinions, plugins, and more, all coming up on Plugin Pulse, WordPress plugins from A to Z.
Ladies and
Whoop. WordPress, the king of content management systems, powering the web with over 80,000 plugins to choose from. How do you sort the junk from the gems? Welcome to WP Plugins A to Z, where we've been keeping the pulse of WordPress alive for over 16 incredible years. Join us every week for an unrehearsed, real talk breakdowns of the latest and greatest plugins, developer and community member interviews. Some weeks, Amber and I team up to dig in. Others, I'm flying solo, unpacking WordPress news, demoing a standout plugin, or sharing tips to power up your site. No scripts, no fluff, just the good stuff from A to Z. So plug in and let's get rolling. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island. I'm John O'Roland. Today I'm all by myself, and because this show is so fantastic, before we get started, hit the like button. Today I'm going to be talking about unpopular ideas in WordPress. I have a new plugin review, some discussion about how AI is going to kill WordPress, tips, plugins, extras, and more. Lots of really great stuff. And since I'm flying solo, I got to figure out how to entertain everyone as I go along, just because I'm all by my lonesome. But leave some comments, comment to this, reach out to us via email. You can find all our contact information over at wppluginsa2z.com. And, well, with all of that, let's dive right into a couple of quick things I've got for this week here. Now, the big one that I've been working on and trying to wrap my head around entirely and maybe have some good discussions in and around it is dealing with a week or so ago on the Twitter sphere, there was a really big discussion about how AI was supposedly going to kill WordPress, and people came in on all sides of it. It was really entertaining. This one here is Barone Williams. He came in with a really good, long article and take on it, and I couldn't find. I thought I'd saved the original tweet that started it all out, but unfortunately I didn't. But what it said in a nutshell is that if you're working in WordPress by the end of this year, you should just give it up because WordPress is dead. AI is going to take over. It can create any website in a very short period of time. All the design, layout, and look good stuff. But of course, what they didn't take into consideration is most WordPress websites are not just a place of HTML code or posts and pages like it was back in the beginning when I started with WordPress. WordPress is a full-blown CMS system now. It does so much more than just produce your posts and your pages or basically your content. It helps manage backends. It helps manage e-commerce stores. It runs membership sites. There's a lot going on, even when you're just creating content like posts and pages, which is what I do over at the Oasis. I also have an e-commerce store there, but by using custom post types, I have organized it into a serious structure that was not available. And there's no AI that's going to create that serious structure, plus the updates, making it easy to update and keep the content changing, all of those things along the line. Now, here's his example of someone building in a promptless, in other words, AI, a bulk paste feature where each line of text automatically becomes clean. But when you combine that with a deterministic structure, AI-assisted content mapping and refinement, WordPress turns into something much more powerful than a CMS. So this is a way AI can help take WordPress to a next level if you incorporate it in the right ways. There's so many ways to incorporate it. Right now, I use AI at its very straightforward level. In other words, I refuse to give it access to my websites and my life. I've got things I need. I log on to the AI, I ask the questions, I give it the prompts, I get the content, I copy and paste it. I don't automate stuff like that because you're giving your world over to a computer when you do that. Be cautious along that line there. Oop. Bring up the right stuff here. All right. Here's another one. Paul Bogue. And he said, I'm going to start a new series, Grumpy Old Web Designers. As he's been reading the breathless predictions about what's going to happen to user experience this year, 80% of new trends are just old ideas with a fresh coat of paint. Well, it's true there. If you've been around this industry long enough, you'll see almost every new trend in the last 5 years has been an old idea that's been brushed up, cleaned up, polished, and presented with whatever new technology is available. We need a good focus on accessibility in WordPress. The internet entirely focus on accessibility. The other 20%, never going to happen. VR and AR have been just around the corner. He says 15 years. He's wrong there. VR and virtual reality and augmented reality, they've been around the corner for over 25 years. I remember the days in the late 90s in the video game arcades. Yes, those were a thing for those of you that are rediscovering it. I've got some Zoomer boys that are just discovering the old video arcade that was opened in our town, and that's really quite entertaining because they're like, it's so cool. So yeah, that used to be on every street corner at one point in time. At any rate, there used to be these old VR machines in there with a headset that hung from a cable from the ceiling. You had to pull it down on your head because the headset was so heavy you couldn't hold it on your head without the cable supporting it from the ceiling. But that's where VR started. And of course, it's been around the corner since then. And now, yeah, it's gotten better. They're down to a small, giant glass thing that will wear over your face, which is okay. I've tried my kids' VR headset, and it was rather interesting. That was great. But as I say, it's a lot of this stuff here is moving. Now, with the AI and these new giant mega data centers that are being created, maybe VR will advance quite rapidly since they finally start getting the processing power they need to actually work. So he's got some predictions about what'll happen. Most everyone, yeah, that's pretty much, they'll keep doing the basics, making sites faster, writing better copy, testing with real users, fixing the bloody obvious problems that have been sitting in the backlog since 2010. He's got 2019. Let's say 2010 because there's a lot of problems that go way back, probably back to 1999. A lot of problems. Let's see here. Stuff that actually moves the needle, but it's not a sexy trend piece. And he's pretty right on all of this stuff. It's all going to boil down to basically just roaming forward and doing the basics to keep everything going the way it's supposed to. And it is what it is. The basics are always going to be more important than everything else. Now, every advance, it gets a lot of cool, shiny stuff, and I can't think of the ones that were 3 and 5 years ago right now. I should keep a track. Well, at least I got a track here now for when AI finally moves to the side, and people are like, yeah, well, you use AI this way, and they're talking about the ways of, hey, you use it to manage stuff. You don't let it take over because it's not sentient. It's probably not going to become sentient. It may, you never know, it could become sentient, but it's not sentient. And it is basically just, what's the word I'm looking for there? It goes in and it's a choice chooser. You give it information, it makes a bunch of choices from what it thinks is an algorithmic choice, and it brings back information. Now, sometimes it brings it back right, and you can train it to think in certain ways and do things that you want it to do. I've managed to take Grok, my preferred AI, and I've managed to have Grok write the content in my style, and then I can take what he produces for me, and then I can refine it down even further into my style. And it makes it a whole lot easier. It's taken my transition time of process in my brain to content on the page from what used to be an article of 1,200 words could sometimes take me 16 hours to accomplish. I can now accomplish it in 2 to 3 hours because I can take a dictated outline, feed it in a Grok. He'll feed me back a nicely formatted paragraph text that I can then go through, clean up, change his words out that don't belong, and put my words in that do belong, and thus refine it down. So I can take it from a 12 to 14 hour process down to a 2-hour process. Thereby, it makes creating the content much easier and faster to do. Same thing with the images. You look at the really cool image we've got today. Let's see here. I don't think I have it. I don't have it set up on here. Let's see what I can do here. Well, yeah, we're live, and I'm all by my lonesome, so I can just kill and round it around here. I'm going to add in a new component here, and we'll showcase the really cool video Grok created for me on this one here. Oops, what is that thing? What is this thing? Okay. Why is that one of the few items I can't duplicate? Oops, didn't want to do that. There we go. Let's try that. Let's bring this back here. Image, slideshow. There we go. Media source. That's what I want. All right. Let's see here. Let's go find, and then we'll showcase the video. It won't take but a moment to get where we're going. as we wander along, and we have dead air, dead air, dead air. I don't have anybody listening right now anyway. For those of you listening on the download of this podcast, well, you'll have to come to YouTube to see the really cool video we're about to showcase here, because it is a pretty cool video. Oops, wrong spot. There we go. One more. Nope, that's the wrong one too. Wow, I've just got stuff all over the place. There we go. All right, there we go. Let's go watch. These are the things, and these are prompts that I've refined, and I get those images now in like under 10 minutes. I just go in and change a few words on my prompt, and boom, I get that in. So this is how AI is going to help you, is with the right prompts on everything, you can get all the things you need done and shorten your time span from beginning to end when you're doing it. Now, here's another one, Breon Williams from Twitter here. AI isn't replacing WordPress. It's replacing the manual work before content hits a real CMS, which is what I just described. It's not going anywhere. He's talking about the future in AI using structured blocks, WordPress. That's how sites stay fast, editable, and scalable. Maybe. For those that are using blocks and the block editor, I myself don't know. I may eventually be forced into the block editor. I'm hoping to never be forced into it because I don't like it. I've still got to do my comparison of the block editor versus the classic editor for creating content that is then templated out using something like Elementor. Because the idea, I believe, of WordPress, once I finally got my head wrapped around it about 5 years ago, it's not about using the back end of WordPress to format all your content and make it pretty on the front page. The back end is where your content goes. The front end is where you use page builders, for lack of a better term. There's probably another term for it, but page builders, all of our page builders, Etch, Elementor, Bricks, Breakdance. I can't remember. There's dozens of them now. All of them are page builders that then call in the content from your custom post types. And if you use advanced custom post types, most of these page builders support bringing in the content from advanced custom fields using the custom fields or the custom post types you create, or even the custom taxonomies you create in advanced custom fields, ACF. So you create all this content in the back end, and it's basic, it's readable, it's understandable, it's easy to navigate. And then you bring it to the front end where it gets displayed. Your customer doesn't want to have to build out every single page. The other thing they don't want to do is, I need to change the title on this page. They don't want to have to go to an individual post that was built using the block editor or built using Elementor and then try to navigate through all those blocks trying to edit it. They just want to go to the back end where it says title, change the title, and boom, it's on the front end. They don't have to do it. Their page stays the same. Their layout stays the same. The consistency stays the same throughout the whole website. The visitors to the website, which are the reason you build a website, is for when people visit it to get the traffic flowing through the website to sell whatever product you're selling, via content, via memberships, e-commerce store, whatever you're doing, your goal is to sell something to earn money off of your website. And you need a way so when people show up there, they don't get lost when they go clicking through the website. And that's what it's supposed to do. Now, Raphael Tamale here, he's talking about WordPress and AI. Now, he's been building websites for 20 years. Yeah, I'm right there with you, and tested almost everything out there. There's not a better solution for publishing content than WordPress. I absolutely agree with that statement because I've been doing this for it's 27 years now. Holy crap. Since 1999, I've been doing this. And in the beginning, it was pure HTML using Dreamweaver to help me with the HTML and the visual layout. And initially, it was just HTML. You had to write your HTML, then you had to go look at it on a page to see if you got it right. Then Dreamweaver. Then came along PHP and Dreamweaver and combining with HTML, and then CSS showed up, and then that helps you create better layouts and make things stick where you wanted them to. And then what came after CSS? I don't remember, but around about 2009, I guess, is when WordPress came out. At first, I hated it. Couldn't stand it. In fact, I was already running a hosting company, and I banned WordPress from being installed in any accounts on my server because it was such such a pig on resources. It was such a resource hog. It would bring a server to its knees in less than 5 minutes. It was just horrible. By the time I discovered it in 2011, that was when I was looking at all of the different CMS systems, and I can't remember the other two primary ones, Drupal, and I can't remember the other one. I looked at them, and when I looked at WordPress, I went, oh, this one's excellent. It was perfect for what I was building at the time. And then that was with version 2.7, I think. And then version 3 came out with custom post types, and that changed the game forever for WordPress. And that is where we're at now with WordPress. There is nothing better for it. Now, the block editor has some things to hate, for lack of a proper term. Anyway, he's actually goes, what AI actually threatens. If Claude Code and similar tools are going to kill anything, it's more likely Webflow or Framer, those quick landing page that used to justify reaching for a visual builder. You can generate those with AI now faster and cheaper. Yeah, that's probably a good place for AI. You need a quick, simple landing page, boom, badoom, and then you use the landing page to send people off. That's actually a really good use for it. And he's talking about WebFramer, Wix, Squarespace. They're great for smaller sites and landing sites. Okay, well, Wix, throw it out the window. Webflow and Framer I've never heard of. Squarespace and actually, Wix I've used once or twice. But anyway, for helping a client, and Wix and Squarespace, the only place I've really helped people is getting them off of those and moving them to something useful, such as WordPress. And they're great for a small site or someone with a startup. But the problem is the moment you want to grow, you need something where you can manage and control your data. And when you need something different than what they offer, you have to go somewhere else. And it's sooner or later, if your business grows in any of those places, it's going to be needing WordPress. And AI is not going to take over that. Okay, he's got here where WordPress still wins. For bigger builds, sites with a lot of content, teams that need to manage and visually edit their pages, you need a CMS with a clear interface, as we just discussed, the clear interface. You don't have a budget for something completely custom? Well, that's where other people, if you have a big budget, you can go customize your own CMS system and make it unique to what your needs are. And he's like, the block editor has been a breath of fresh air for clients. Not for any of my clients, but at any rate, we've got that. And as he says, if you've had a bad experience with WordPress, it's probably because you've not used it in a while. Well, yeah, I would say it would be more than 10 years since you used it if you think it's completely bad because you had a bad experience. Okay. And he's got a thing here. If we need any CMS in the age of AI, WordPress might outlast them all. It's already got a database, a structured way, easy for AI to work with and plug into. And of course, they've got the AI team working on things. I'm really hoping they come up with some really cool and useful things and don't just layer it on to like, hey, plug in your AI and let it control your life. Want to see some unique ways. What they would be, I don't know, because that's not my focus in life. What could kill WordPress? This is what he thinks could kill WordPress. It's not AI replacing WordPress. It's a shift in how we publish content. Now, that's a big one. I don't know how the shift in publishing content would occur. He goes on to say, it's happening in some aspects. People post contents on X. They post them on. They create exclusive newsletters. They publish them on. I can't remember the other publishers. They publish their content there. But what they're going to discover when they publish that content there is everyone goes there for the content. How does that help you sell your products? How does that help you gain? You'll gain an audience. You might get them for a newsletter somewhere. Great, hang on to that newsletter. You're going to need it. And as he says here, he thinks it would be a mistake to keep changing the content like that. We should own our platforms. And that's where I was going. Always own your platform. He mentioned people found out on TikTok how fragile it is. You can lose overnight everything you've built entirely on someone else's platform. And you can also look at that, all the people that have built on things like YouTube or Facebook or other places where they say something that is no longer politically correct and their entire account is wiped out. Years of history is gone, and they might not have a backup of that on their local hard drives. So this is the things to think about when you're dealing with these contents and why and what could kill WordPress. That is the only thing that could kill it is that. But the thing is people eventually realize, I've seen it over the 26 years I've been doing this. People will like, build it here, and everyone rushes there and builds it. The political climate on that platform changes and they're wiped out. Or there have been a couple of those platforms where everybody built their stuff and it vanished. Oh, one that just popped in my head was Blab. I used Blab back in the day and it lasted for about 1.5 years. It was a great place to put videos. Well, I always made local copies of those and put them in a different place. I still have some of those. You can find them on my YouTube channel. They're quite entertaining. But the idea is make sure you always own your content. Always have a local copy of your content at all costs, even when you have your own website and servers. Always have a local copy and then have a copy of the copy of the copy of the copy, backed up on several hard drives, even into the cloud. Mine are often backed up on Dropbox. Excuse me. Usually I can hide that when I have a guest. All right. Enough randomness about AI and how it's not going to kill WordPress. Let's go off into a couple of other random things and talk about some ways to support the people in the WordPress community. The first one I'm going to hear, the featured promotion today for a featured plugin is changelogwp.com. This plugin here is for those of you that develop plugins or you have a changelog for even your web hosting business or anything you have a changelog for that is a public-facing product. This is a great way to publish your changelog and get people to subscribe to that publishing and so that they can see the content as it's coming up. It's clear, detailed changelogs. It's got lots of little tweaks of things you can put in there to enhance what's happening with it. It helps you with communication of ideas, inform new users about new features, transparent documentation that helps build trust. It helps users and developers identify when issues were introduced so it can aid in troubleshooting. It highlights new functionality, ensures compliance for regulatory industries, and more. There's all kinds of really great features about this that are very useful. So something you want to check out, and it's a really great plugin. I've been promising to use it. I just haven't got around to it. But we will. I will. And who knows, maybe next time I'm doing this show when I have to do it by myself, when I don't have an interview and maybe I'll do that as a live, take a look at this and see what's happening. So what do we got else here? Okay, we're going to talk about a plugin review. This is my own plugin. It's one that I showcased on WP Plugins A to Z regular show. And this is WP Pro A to Z limit updates. What this is for is to restrict plugin, theme, and WordPress core updates, install, delete active capabilities to only specifically allowed user admins. This is a very useful plugin. It was created simply because I had to deal with a project client that their admins just wouldn't leave the updates alone. They hired me to manage and maintain the site, but yet they kept breaking stuff when I wasn't looking, and they were doing it oftentimes by updating a plugin and me not knowing what was going on as to what happened and having to go dig through the logs to see what they've done. So this plugin blocks that from occurring. So if you have a website where you have clients or other users that are admin level and can access the plugins, the themes, or the WordPress core updates, for installation, delete, activate, Oh, that was the other thing they would do. They'd activate a plugin without telling me, which can be a real pain if someone introduces a new plugin to a website that, might be delicately balanced with the ones that are in place. So if you have that problem, go check out this plugin. It's free over on my GitHub. It's a really great plugin. All right. Let's wander off over to next item I've got here. This here is a little bit of help to the WordPress community. Rodolfo, who I'm not going to go his last name today. I don't think I'd get it right. Rodolfo is running the Checkout Summit for WooCommerce. He's been creating it. It's happening in Italy. He needs to sell the remaining sponsor booths, the 3 side events, and the 50 tickets soon. He really wants to get this done. He's still got how long did he say left? He's got 2 months left till kickoff. So he needs some help with him, folks. Get out there. If you want to head to Italy, or you can head to Italy and support him, and this would be a great way to do it. If you have a company that's a great sponsor, if the event with peers and invite them, take a look at the speakers and the attendee pages. He's got it all here in this link in the show notes to his Twitter X feed. And go check it out. I also did a really great interview with him a few weeks back where we talked about this show and more. You can go find it over on wppluginzaz.com. The link is in the show notes. And I believe it's a really great thing to go support and help out Rodolfo and see if we can make sure this event, for some reason, I want to call a conference. There we go. This conference goes off without a hitch. That would be really fantastic. All right. And I need to work on tweaking these show notes a little bit so that everything comes together a little bit more effectively. Now, I'm still going to be doing a rundown on WordPress 7 beta. I've got it lined up to showcase you the initial changes they've made in the admin dashboard, and we'll go through that. And I only briefly looked at it when I installed it on a dev site, so we'll take a look at that in just a few minutes. Now, before we go into that, let's talk a little bit about 2 items left. 1, value for value. This show is a value for value show. If you get any value out of it, please send some value back. That value is in the form of time, talent, or treasure. Time-wise, well, you can get out there and plug people in, let them know about this show, tell them how great it is, how the content is. The oddball show like this one, not as exciting as the interview show or the show I do with Amber every other week. Those are 2 really exciting shows. This one here is filler to make sure everyone knows we still exist. But still, get out there with your time and tell people about it. If you find ways you would like to help the show or suggestions, that's also a great time. The other one is talent. And talent, you can go donate your artwork to the show. You can just click the link in the show notes or click the link off the website and go submit your artwork. We will take images and or videos. You can upload those, and if you leave a good description and a title, we will make sure it's called out. And if in the description you tell us who made it, we'll let you know. It doesn't have to be your own work. You can get any AI to produce the work. Who knows, maybe I'll share the prompt I use for creating artwork, and maybe that'll encourage more people to start using AI to give us some slop that we don't have to create. More AI slop. The world needs it. The world needs more AI slop. The final one, of course, is time, talent, treasure. Donating some treasure. Yes, if you feel the need to give us some cash, these shows aren't cheap. They're not free, folks. They take time. This show doesn't take nearly as much time as the other shows take, but they still take time. Plus, we got to sit here, talk to you guys for an hour, half an hour, whatever amount of time it goes. I watch people pop in and out of the YouTube channel. I guess I'm boring, but hey, that's life. I'll keep going because I believe in it. You can go leave us a treasure donation here. All right. Let's go wander into talking about WordPress 7 beta. Okay. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Oh, yes, we did. We did want that. There we go. Jeffro of the original WP Tavern, I believe. I believe it's the same Jeffro. He was the one that started his show like a week or two before WP Plugins showed, and then unfortunately he left it behind. Anyway, he was talking about WordPress 7 shipping with a new admin style that'll be enabled by default. And I was like, oh, okay, they're going to fix up the admin style? This will be kind of cool. They're going to rename the old default style to Fresh, while the new style will be called Default. Okay, makes a lot of sense. And they're suggesting all product owners should test WordPress 7 to check for any visual issues. Well, that one made me curious. What are we going to do? We've been begging for a decent refresh of the admin area, along with the true refresh we want for the WordPress admin is in the media library. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But here's what we've got. Off of my dev sites here, I've got the dev site and the dev site of the dev site. This is the current WordPress admin dashboard. Now, when I pop it in and we installed WordPress 7 to see what we've got, well, the first things I notice, you might notice too, is we got curves. It's no longer square blocks. See, look at that, square blocks. Then I noticed a color change. Wow, what a color palette change. Okay, nice, faded black, blue. Red button here tells you how many updates you need. Yeah, it's a dev site, folks. I have 43 plugins that need updated there. Then we look over here. Oh, wait, we got to look at this error I have up top because I have a plugin on here that the dev site, it blocks all outgoing mail, so my dev site can't send any mail just to prevent any crap from escaping, especially because I have test forums on the website and the spammers love them. They're basically honeypot traps. I use them to help track what spammers are doing. But because my WordPress site can't send any emails, they don't end up being sent from the server as spam, which is very useful when you're doing this. Okay, so you'll see it's been made larger. The text is made black instead of white, so it doesn't show out. And the box is made larger, so there's more padding in there. The other odd one here for me is changing this from a red to a blue. That just seems like a mistake to me. It really does. And that mistake is simply because now when people see it, they might think, oh, 43, it's blue. Blue must be good. Blue's a good color. It's not a color where you need to do something right away, generally. That's the way people are generally taught. Now, when we look at a few other things on here, let's see if I still get that oddball error when I went to plugins. Pretty sure I didn't dismiss it. When we go look at the installed plugins, we'll get some, nope, nothing there. It looks like it got dismissed. I noticed that when you get the admin notifications up here, oh, wow, that's like really hard on the eyes. That is a really bad. I'm looking at the text against that. That's in all posts. Let's go take a look at all posts here and see what we got. Yeah, it was much easier on the eyes before they, yeah, that makes it kind of harsh on the eyes. Okay, the contrast on that is really high. It could be some adjustments to it. I'm open more so than the first time. They did do an admin upgrade about 10 years or so ago, and that's when they made all these menus, drop downs, pop outs, and I really hated them at first until I got used to them. Oh, that's kind of useful. They got the little highlighter next to it. Let's see if we got the same thing here. Oh, okay, we still got the same thing here. I just never noticed the highlighter. The highlighter stands out, so that makes it a little more useful. Let's see what else is in the dashboard here. Let's go take a look in the media library and see what we got here. Ah, here it is right here. Oh, that one's not so bad. Speed up, install cache. Let's see what we've got in here. We go to the media library. In comparison, if we get to, yeah, okay, it's still got the same. There was one where this text was faded out completely, and it was a blue button, and and the text was blue, so you couldn't tell what it was. It was really an oddball one. So let's say that was a mistake, or maybe what I thought was a mistake. All right, well, let's see what else have we got here. Yeah, okay. So on the whole, that doesn't look too bad. Now, the one thing that had been commented on by people is that I'll have to log out for a second here. When we log out, the logo no longer matches the login, so it throws off the layout on this, as a couple of people commented on, which is kind of an interesting thought, is that the people commented on that as being a problem. Let me pop back in there. People commented on that being a problem, but on the whole, that's not looking too bad. I'm not sure what other features or functions are in here. Let's go see if there's any new tools, anything. Nothing new in site health. The site will be a mess. Available tools, categories, and oh, that's something I added. Import, export, plugin, check. Nope. Settings, general. Anything new in the general settings that I hadn't added in from all the plugins I've got on here? Nope. Writing. I don't see anything new in that. Reading, nothing new in there. Permalinks. I wouldn't know if there's anything new in there except on new. Hopefully they didn't change this back. This one here, the default permalink setting has been swapped around numerous times over the years through various iterations of WordPress. And unfortunately, many people never get in here and change this. Initially, it started out as post name, which is the most efficient one. Then they switched it to plain for a while as the default install. Then they went to, I think they went to month and name. So you can do all kinds of different things with it, but you got to be careful how you do it. It does impact your SEO. Privacy, that's pretty much it. I don't see anything unusual to be concerned with in here. But as far as I can tell, and so far it looks to be pretty good. It doesn't have any impact, but I'm only been playing here in my sandbox a little bit and see what we got. It won't do anything to my layout of stuff, so oops. There you go. Let's play. There you go. There's Snake, folks. You can go play Snake over on my dev site. That's really it. The biggest thing is the colors and the color scheme. Now, I believe the color scheme is set under general. Where is the color scheme? I forget where the color scheme is. Writing. Reading. I never change the color scheme. I just go with the default one because it's just simpler. Okay, I'm not sure. Oh, tools? No. I thought the color scheme was set under general. Maybe I have it defaulted off somewhere. Couldn't tell you. Okay, well, I can't remember where it's at because I rarely ever look at the color scheme. So at any rate, the new color scheme is going to be a little odd, a little bit of unusual getting used to if they completely default to this particular shades of blue. I do like the dashboard area with the new rounded corners. I tend to do that on lots of things I do, just have the rounded corners, so they've rounded the top and bottom, so they've rounded them all up instead of squared them up. For some reason, that just feels more comfortable. Mainly, I don't know. Other than that, that's what we've got. And let's wrap it up. That's really all I got. Let's wrap it up just for fun with a little bit of WordPress drama. That's going to bring us to a close. All right. The WordPress drama is what recently came about through some new filings from WP Engine. We knew this was going to get good, especially as they got deep into discovery. And this is opening some areas that people have speculated on for a very long time. And it's automatic plan to steal every single WordPress site from hosts that refuse trademark deals, WP Engine alleges in the latest complaint. There's some interesting things in this. Newly unsealed material. Complaint cites internal automatic documents that categorized hosting companies into 3 tiers. Friends, like Newfold or Bluehost, who pay us a lot of money. Would-be friends, like WP Engine, who are mostly good citizens, but don't directly contribute to automatic. And charlatans, who don't contribute at all. And this article here is really great for reading through. You can find a lot of really interesting stuff here, talking about how Automatic is acknowledging that any tier 1 host would push back against signing this trademark deals. They're promising to go after people. It's a lot of stuff here. There's some interesting bits here. According to the filing, days after WP Engine filed its lawsuit, Mullenweg emailed a Stripe executive urging the company to cancel any contracts or partnerships with WP Engine, or if they chose not to do so, WordPress or Automatic would exit their contracts. So there's a lot of really interesting shenanigans here. It's going to be more interesting as more stuff comes out through discovery. That's the whole fun entertainment of these lawsuits. Now, they're not expected in court again until June of this year. So who knows what can come in between now and then. But just for some fun and entertainment, go check them out and see what you got. And finally, I just want to remind folks, I have no upcoming interviews, but I have available dates on March 9th, 23rd, and April 6th and 20th. So with all of that, I think I'm going to call this one a day, and we're going to escape and let my girl take us on out of here.
Reminders for the show. All the show notes can be found at wppluginsa2z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A to Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by you, the developers, because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa2z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show through your favorite podcast app. You can also watch the show live on YouTube at WP Plugins A to Z, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. You can also follow the show on X at WP Plugins A to Z. John can be reached directly through the website wpproatoz.com or email him at john@wppro.ca. Amber can also be contacted through the website at wpproatoz.com or email her directly, amber@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.
And that's all we got. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Oh my god, that is amazing!
Oh no. Obviously we just lost the satellite